Hi everyone, this is Spring Washam and welcome to my treehouse temple. Hi everybody, this is Spring Washam and welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to this video. I wanted to share more of a video series that I'm working on around relationships and the spiritual path and how we evolve in relationships, how we grow, how we get stuck. I just did a video about breakups, so that should be getting posted really soon. And today I wanted to talk about relationships as far as soulmate relationships and karmic relationships. And this is something I know a lot about because I was involved with a very long term in my life. I had a 10-year relationship. That was the definition of a karmic relationship. Sadly, not a soulmate relationship yet, who knows? Who's to say when a soulmate arrives, what time, what period in your life? But what I wanted to do was just talk a little bit about the differences. The one thing that I do in my life is, as a healer and a teacher, is I talk to people. I talk to them about their experiences. When I lived in Oakland, before the COVID virus, before I was traveling, I had a little clinic in my house where I would see clients. So many times, what people wanted to talk to me about was the relationships that they were in. And we all know that this is a huge part of our life. Rather you're, in high school, junior high school, or you're, in your 60s and 70s. Your relationships affect every aspect of your life. And so let's talk about them in an open way and learn from them. So I'm gonna probably end up making some generalizations here, but you'll get the drift and you'll just kind of flow with where I'm going with the conversation. Okay, signs that you are in a karmic relationship. Usually when you're in a karmic relationship, it's painful. Okay, that's a given, okay? And the nature, and when we say the nature of karma, is that it's pulling on past action. When we say, oh, this relationship is karmic, it's usually pulling out things from our past that are difficult, right? The seeds that we may have planted, previous lives, now this life, things that we may have done. Maybe we betrayed someone, so then we end up meeting in a relationship with someone and then they do to us maybe similar things. Not always, because again, when we talk about a karmic relationship, we're talking about a relationship that kind of manifests out of certain causes and conditions, usually painful causes and conditions. And as you know, in my book, A Fierce Heart, I write about pain as being a doorway. So just because you're in a karmic relationship or you have experienced that, albeit so painful, there's so much opportunity to grow. Okay, so when we talk about karmic relationships, we talk about them being painful. Another aspect of a karmic relationship is that they're never stable, meaning there's always a commitment issue on some hand. One person wants in, the other person wants out. You always feel like you're on the edge of breaking up, or you break up every 2 weeks, right? That's the norm, and you get back together. I had this 10-year relationship where I can't even, honestly, if I'm really honest with you, we broke up 50 times. That's how you know that it's karmic, because one of you is trying to escape at different moments. Sometimes he broke up with me. Most of the times it was me breaking up with him, trying to get out of that relationship. So therefore, what happens is it keeps the relationship almost in a heightened state of trauma. You don't really know if it's going to be there or not. Right? There's uncertainty. Are they going to be there? Oh, they're not there. Oh, it's over. Oh my God, it's on again. Oh, here they are. They're calling. Do they want me today? Do I want them today? It's a constant battle in that way. That is very different than when you're in a soulmate relationship. A soulmate relationship is a committed one. It's an immediate commitment. People meet, they fall in love, they both want to be married, they're happy in that situation. It doesn't mean that they don't have disagreements or arguments. Is that in most soulmate relationships, committing is never the issue. Being together isn't the issue. In fact, that's usually a natural fit, right? You come together in a natural way. Oftentimes, karmic relationships even start out on a negative note, right? Maybe you meet this person and they said something mean to you within the first week, or, it's almost like you could see the future coming, walking toward you, right? It starts off on a bad note, or there's a misunderstanding, or there's an affair, or it's hidden, or there's lies. It doesn't start off being beautifully in the open, right? There's always something connected. Karmic relationships has an affair to it. There's lies, there's other people involved. It's like, I need this person. Oh wait, they're married, they have kids, right? Classic one, right? But you can't seem to break away from it, or they can't seem to break away from it. Often, karmic relationships have addictive qualities to them. Either you engage in a certain kind of behavior that you normally wouldn't, rather it's sexual, rather it's substance abuse, maybe certain kinds of TV programs, their friends. Usually when it's karmic, you're being pulled in a way that you don't want to be, right? You're influenced by this person. You take on a different persona when you're with them. You sort of sometimes shape shift because that's what they like. Oftentimes with a karmic relationship, you have to go lower yourself in some way, go against your values. Again, that's a sign, a red flag that it's a karmic one. Soulmate relationships, on the other hand, is a meeting of the minds. It's a meeting of two people with shared values, right? They meet at the same place at the same time in life, right? And they're ready. Soulmate relationships often bring out the best in us, right? They bring out our love, the part of us that wants to commit, the part of us that longs to make somebody happy in a beautiful way. Usually soulmate relationships, not all the time, but the majority, they're much more harmonious. Another aspect of the karmic relationships is usually a lot of times you're opposites. They say opposites attract, but they also clash, right? It's sort of like you meet someone on the wrong side of town, or they're totally different than you. This was the relationship that I had for many years. This person was really conservative, from Texas, went to a fancy college and was in a fraternity and worked at a pharmaceutical company, and I'm a free spirit wandering around, parents gone, the opposite. He loved meat, I loved kale. We just exactly down the line opposites. But a karmic relationship loves to fight it out, and so the battle begins sometimes on whose way is going to win. So when I was in the grip of that karmic relationship, I changed myself a lot to try to make them happy, right? And the funny thing is when you make these changes, it's never enough, right? It's never enough. It's never enough. So I used to have to wear certain clothes, or not have to, I chose that in order to, what I wanted was peace. So I thought, okay, if I do all of these things, then I'm going to create the peace. Then maybe I'll feel like we are soulmates. If I totally negate my soul and go for them, then, we're mated, right? No, it doesn't happen like that. Your true soulmate will not only understand you, but will celebrate the gifts that you bring into the world, into your life, into that relationship, right? Again, it's not to say that there's not challenges in soulmate relationships, but the foundation of the relationship is from two very different perspectives. They are two very different energies. People in soulmate relationships often talk about, I felt like I knew the person my whole life. I was immediately connected. I felt safe. That's a big word. Karmic relationships, I don't know who this person is. I'm afraid. I feel unsafe, but yet we're addicted to that, right? They're mysterious figures. You never have the right phone number, some people. There's always something going on. It's mixed with a lot of deception, right? Because the karma is being purified. It's sort of like the karmic relationship is to purify action. And at the root of a karmic relationship, if you feel like, oh no, I'm in one, is usually about teachings of integrity, teachings that value you first, right? To be in a long-term karmic relationship, you have to sacrifice parts of yourself. And you also get stuck in these tangles that go around and around. You see, the problem with karmic relationships is they sort of have a shelf life. They burn and burn, and you could have a really intense physical connection to that person or some passion for them. But usually on every other level, it's very unsatisfactory, right? And it's an addiction versus a real love. You know, karmic relationships often turn violent. Karmic relationships lead to people getting injured, and sometimes they're very hard to get out of. Now, that's not all of them, but there's a range, you know, of a pain that we deal with. Toxic relationships fall into that category because what we're learning about in these relationships, and in a way, they're priceless. But what we're learning is how to listen to ourselves, to love ourselves, to value ourselves. So these relationships are very complex because there's some part of us that's hooked deeply, even addicted to being mistreated or to the suffering and drama itself. You know, drama is an addiction, you know, and as we grow on the spiritual path, we heal that addiction toward madness, and you know, we develop a kind of newer capacity, frequency for love, compassion, commitment, and we want to attract partners that are really going to be there for us. Soulmate relationships also, even though it sounds very magical and beautiful, you know, are not always permanent. They don't always lead to a lifetime of marriage and children. They often do. They can. But sometimes you can have a relationship that's so beautiful and that's impermanent. You know, somebody comes, they really do see you. And in a way, we could say they also are karmic, but they have another kind of karma to help you through. They're almost like they stop and then they blow into your life. You dance for a while and it's beautiful, and you see them, they see you, and then like the wind, you know, on their way. So one could say that's also karmic, but also soulmate-like because they saw you, they got you. And the pain might come because we hold on to it. You know, all relationships involved holding on and letting go. And with those momentary soulmates, we could say, not the forever soulmate, but a momentary visitor who comes and transforms your whole life, that also you have to let go, right? And that also can be a karmic thing for us, right? We get touched, we hold on. Relationships are very complex. Our family members also can represent karmic relationships and soulmate relationships. Who is around us, our siblings. We can have similar relationships with our friends, that we have a soulmate, a soul sister our whole life that really gets us, or a soul brother, or any soul formation. A pet even can be a karmic relationship or a soulmate, you know, relationship. So these are ways that, you know, we can be open to the magic of life, open. But the best way is to work on yourself. The relationship you have with you, is that relationship a karmic one? Are you cruel? Are you loving? Are you healing yourself? Are you doing the inner work that it takes to really attract somebody really beautiful and worth your time? Relationships are an incredible mirror, and they're a huge part of our growth and our maturity on the spiritual path, how we sustain them, how we navigate them, and how we let go when it's time to let go. That's all what we learn in working with relationships. So these are some things that I wanted to share. And please know that if you're in a karmic relationship, you can always begin to find your way out. I really encourage people to start doing a lot of inner work. Let the pain of that relationship wake you up. You know, in the Buddhist tradition, they talk about the noble truths, and one of them is the truth of suffering. And when we look at that closely, like, where is this hurt? We start to unwind the karma, right? If you keep looking at the other person, you won't grow. That's the key to transforming the karma itself, is to grow from it, right? To undo the tangle. And that's going to take a lot of you reflecting on yourself, developing awareness, begin to notice your own patterns of how you're holding on, how you're clinging, what is creating the causes to so much suffering and attracting this painful relationship. So there's work to be done if you find yourself in a karmic relationship. And then sometimes you could do it with that person, and that can also work. But these are just some tips. You know, for all of us in our human lives, relationships bring out the best of us, and they can bring out the worst of us. And the worst sides, the hurt, the violence, you know, not just physical violence, but words, mind states of violence. Those are actually as powerful. And so through the path of meditation, through healing ourselves, we really can begin to transform our relationships one step at a time. And I hope that all of us begin to grow. And so as we evolve, then we begin to attract that partner who reflects our souls, where our soul has evolved to. The highest part, right? That's what we want to be reflected back. Someone who loves us, someone who cares, and someone who will be there for us in difficult moments. So I think that's all I have to say in this moment about karmic relationships and soulmates. And please leave comments below. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please share it. Subscribe to our channel, my channel. This is live from the tree temple always. This is some of the messages the trees tell me. And I just want all of the content on this channel to be inspiring and uplifting and helpful for you and your life. Okay, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me.